Some explosive allegations by the Vice President of the United States of America regarding Israel and Epstein. As Epstein's name comes up again on Capitol Hill, when will it stop? Let's go. Let's talk about it. Yes, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and JD Vance had a lot to say. Man, we're getting into that. Plus, earlier this week, and I've been meaning to get to this, these wacko doctors on Capitol Hill. One of the biggest things that I've told you before is that medical schools are the biggest places of woke indoctrination everywhere. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And some really wacky stuff came out of this hearing. And I have not given you my analysis of it, so I'm going to give you my analysis of it. Plus, President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania yesterday had a lot to say regarding the future of the defense industry, the war in Iran, but also battleground PA, which I want to focus on a little bit here because, you know, midterms are a thing, and then we're right back in the midst of 2028. And if I always like to think of of what the future holds for us, Pennsylvania right now, at this moment in time, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, these states we're all hearing about again, all of a sudden, there's a reason for it, because as soon as midterms are over, it's going to be presidential election time. Yep, you're exhausted now? Well, get ready, because it's only going to get worse from here. And the battleground PA is already intensifying, which is why the president came with McCormick yesterday, and they had a whole thing with all these defense contractors about AI. And this comes as the Democrat governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, puts in a moratorium against AI data centers, which is just freaking stupid. And even John Fetterman said this is a win for China. China's been engaging in a lot of this rhetoric out there about how horrible these AI data farms are, and they're doing that to sow dissent because they don't want America to win on AI. Now, that being said, you may not want an AI data center in your backyard. I totally get that. Maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones who has land that they want to buy to put an AI data center on. Good for you. That's called winning the lottery, kids. But if you're like me and you're trapped in this Canadian wildfire haze that we have going on, along with a heat wave, and it just stinks and the air is miserable, it's a good time to get into some really great conspiracies by our Vice President of the United States and a 2028 presidential nominee, but candidate, I should say, not nominee, but candidate for President of the United States of America, JD Vance, who tells Joe Rogan, well, a lot of stuff regarding Epstein and Israel, and even accused Israel of a secret plot against him. Yes. Now, maybe this is just because he really wants to help Joe Rogan's numbers, because I know he's struggling with only like 25 million views a show, which is tough. I mean, you know, we're close. We're closing in on him, but a little ways to go. That's okay. I'm a patient man, a little bit, kind of, sort of, but you get it. Maybe he's just saying this kind of stuff because he's like, hey, Joe Rogan needs to eat. Guy's got to eat. So I'll go on his podcast and I'll say that Israel has a secret plot against me. Let's start with cut number 10, shall we?
Again, like, say this with all candor, like, we absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files, like we just did. But do I think the reason we screwed up the comms is because we were trying to hide something? No. I think the reason we screwed up the comms of the Epstein files is one, you know, Pam Bondi said the client list is on my desk, right?
Well, they had binders. They were standing in front.
But those binders were largely documents that had already been released, right? So here's, let me try to defend.
What was the purpose of that performative display of the Epstein files? And she was saying there's tens of thousands of hours of film.
I don't know what the purpose of it was, but I know that the effect of it was to make people mistrust the entire effort. And what I think was happening, look, I know Pam, I like Pam. I don't think there was anything malicious going on. I think Pam was trying to respond to the political moment. I think she overstated what we had and what we didn't have. And I think that she, you know, got roasted for it publicly by a lot of people, including me.
All right, so obviously that clip is different, but that's okay because it's an important one too. The communications around Epstein and how they handled that whole thing, and it was a cluster F. You know that, and I know that. Going out there with the binders and being like, hey, I got the list on my desk and we're ready to go. And it was really, really dumb, because you can't promise people something like that and not deliver. It's like if I give you a tease on a topic and I don't do it, which happens a lot, but that's the goal, is to deliver. You can't just come out there and say crazy stuff and then not deliver on that. That's what started a lot of this within the world of MAGA, where people got very upset and angry. And then it also opened up for Democrats to turn around and say, well, there's clearly a cover-up going on here because of what she said. All right, so fine, he's owning that. Let's put up a graphic here. JD Vance accuses Israel of secret plot against him and drops Mossad Epstein bombshell in explosive Joe Rogan interview. So now, if you think about Epstein and why the hell, I mean, it's the fact that we're talking about this right now on this Thursday is amazing. I know. And I didn't think we were going to be. And there's a lot of things to talk about, but I have to react to what's being said here because this is amazing stuff. So he tells Rogan, and I've told you this before, and I've known this, I believe this in my heart for a long time. Epstein was connected with the Mossad. He was very embedded with Israel, and he was very much there. So this is cut number 11.
He clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence. In fact, one of the interesting things the Epstein saga reveals about, and I try to make this point, is one of the reasons why I'm always careful. And I say there are some elements within the Israeli government who don't like our peace process, because there are a lot of elements within the Israeli government that actually do like our peace process. They recognize that this indefinite campaign is not good for them either. And the Epstein thing is interesting because as much as I know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, not a particularly popular person in the United States of America right now, Epstein seemed to be connected to the elements of the Israeli deep state that were left of center. Like, I've always found that fascinating. It wasn't like he was super connected to the right of center of Israeli politics. America, he was connected across.
Okay. So this is where it gets really, really deep. All right. Basically blames Israel and claims that members of the Israeli government kind of have it out for him, and they have a campaign that they're orchestrating against him as Vice President of the United States of America. Take a listen.
But I definitely think you have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Like, they're attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely, and that is their explicit position. And coming after me, saying that people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson, and there's just so much bullshit out there. When what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the President of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. We have the free flow of oil and gas. And like, I should be clear, I don't actually mind. I don't mind that let's say certain elements of the Israeli government want to criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal. I don't even mind an effort to try to influence, foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time. Israel does it, other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. What bothers me is actually when Americans meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment and to affect what they are advocating for. That's
okay. Now, there's a lot of, as you can imagine, reaction to this that's been going on since this interview was published yesterday. A ton of reaction. I've been reading it all over the place. And the only thing I can make of this is there are two lanes opening up here for 2028, Marco Rubio and JD Vance. And as much as everybody thinks they're playing nice, the nature of humanity, the nature of human history is that men crave power, and women too. But I'm just saying, in this instance, these are two guys, right? Two alpha males who want power. They want to be the nominee. They don't want to, he doesn't want it. They want it. So now you're going in two different lanes here. I'm guessing JD Vance is making the calculation. He's got a better shot of being the heir of MAGA if he can make it out like he is the victim of this secret Israeli plot to undermine him and thus undermine the Iran deal. While it looks like Marco Rubio is the one out there pushing for more military action on Iran. Do you see what I'm saying here as I look at this? This is my analysis of this. I'm not trying to be critical of either of these guys here. I'm trying to give you analysis. What I do on the show, I try to give you analysis of what I see playing out. It's like using all my decades of political experience rather than just comment on something. I try to kind of peel back the curtain and say, what's really going on here? What is the strategy? Because a guy like that is very smart. And he's not just going to go on Joe Rogan and drop a bombshell that Israel has it out for him and is trying to undermine him and is paying people to basically destroy the Iran deal and destroy him in the process. He's not just going to say that, knowing that there's going to be massive fallout and blowback from that. I think he thinks that if he says this stuff, he's got a better shot of being the heir to MAGA, because there's a lot of frustration within parts of the Make America Great Again movement about the Iran war. And JD wants to be like, hey, I'm the guy trying to make this end. I'm the guy trying to make peace here. I'm the guy trying to have a ceasefire and trying to get us out of this. But Israel's pushing us into this. And then meanwhile, on the other lane, you've got Marco Rubio, who looks like much more of the hawk in the situation, pushing more for military action and military conflict. That's the only thing I can surmise for you of what all this means. Because without that, I don't know what the upside is to JD Vance saying any of this stuff to Joe Rogan. I really don't. I really don't. Because what it essentially says is that as vice president, the Israeli government is actively undermining his boss vis-a-vis him, vis-a-vis by going out, and he's like, I'm okay with it, but they're undermining the president. And that's a big accusation to make against our closest ally in the Middle East. So there's going to be a lot of fallout from that. There already is a lot of fallout from that. That's the only analysis I can give you, is that he's thinking ahead to 2028, and he's thinking, all right, I want to be the guy that the Tucker Carlsons of the world come back to and say, yeah, JD was the one trying to end this, and it was Marco who was the one pushing for more military action, and he was the one pushing for the bomb the bridges, bomb the roads, take out the hospital, take it all out. And he was the pro-Israeli guy, and I was the one getting beat up by Israel. Because why else would you say any of this stuff? You know what I mean? Like, why else would you? And this is not the kind of analysis you're normally going to hear from podcasters and radio hosts, because they don't want to. Well, a lot of them don't have the political background to be able to kind of think about it from that perspective. But I do, and I see this playing out in this manner. Everybody keeps saying these two are going to team up in 2028. I don't see it. I think neither one of them wants to be second fiddle. I think they both think they've earned it, and they both think that they should be the nominee in 2028. That's my read of the situation. Either way, I mean, saying this kind of stuff about Israel and saying this kind of stuff at the same time that on Capitol Hill yesterday there was a massive fight over Israeli funding, and more than half of the Democrats voted not to fund Israel anymore. You can clearly see where the battle lines are being drawn and all. And they've already been drawn on this. I mean, there's, depending on which podcast you listen to, you either have a very, very pro-Israeli commentator or somebody who believes that Israel is pulling the strings behind and blackmailing Trump and getting him to do things with Iran that he never would normally do. I don't engage in that nonsense, but that's what a lot of commentary has become right now during this incredibly taxing war. And I think we're all a little bit tired of it. I think you are, I am, I think we all are. but it's the only analysis I can give you, because he's already getting ripped by people, and you know the names. I don't need to tell them to you, who are like, why are you going out there and accusing Israel of essentially now, not blackmailing is the wrong word, but paying people to bring you down? Why are you accusing them of being the bad guy in the situation and trying to undermine the president? And that's the only answer I can come up with for you, is that. But I'll tell you, the Epstein stuff is amazing too, because he's also now implicating Epstein directly to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Mossad, the Israeli government. We've kind of talked about that, and it's always been one of those things where people have said it kind of around the edges, but nobody in senior level of government, certainly not the number 2 guy, has ever directly said it before. And JD Vance just did. JD Vance just said that he was connected to the Mossad and connected to the highest levels of the Israeli government. I mean, that's a huge freaking bomb to drop. That's a big freaking deal. So obviously, this is maybe the opening shot in the great MAGA civil war of 2028, which is starting now in 2026, which is really going to heat up after the midterms. The only thing I can think of here. But Epstein's name also came up in a number of other ways too. And again, I still can't believe we're talking about this, but I'm not the one who went on Rogan and said all this stuff. It came up in Todd Blanche's testimony, the Attorney General, who's the acting Attorney General, who will become the Attorney General. I believe he'll be confirmed. I don't see why he wouldn't be. But nevertheless, it came up today. So Senator John Kennedy asking him about the DOJ and the FBI and Epstein and what evidence they have. And again, it's amazing that this is still the topic of conversation. You may be shaking your head going, I'm so sick of hearing about this guy, but I got news for you. It's not going to go away anytime soon. So this is what was said.
Other than to himself. Well, first, we can agree, can we not, that Mr. Epstein was a pig?
Yes.
A pig.
Other than to himself. Who, if anyone else, did Mr. Epstein traffic young women to?
There's from what we learned, from what we know. So when we know, I mean, what's in the FBI files and what's in the DOJ files, we did not identify evidence. And by we, I mean career prosecutors, not me, not my leadership, but career prosecutors in New York and career prosecutors in Florida who worked this case hard, did identify other participants, some of whom, as has been discussed, were also victims themselves of Mr. Epstein. But we did not have evidence, as of now, of other men who were that were trafficked, that Epstein helped traffic. That does not mean it didn't happen, and I want to be clear about that. It just means that we have evidence that the FBI gathered and that the Department of Justice gathered, and that's the body of work that we have to work with, which is why I said earlier, if there's anybody out there, victim or otherwise, that has information, I beg them to come forward.
Now, let me share with you some headlines, okay? Because as I was on my way to Fox News today, and yeah, shameless plug. I know, Jared, I'm listening to your advice.
We made it 18 minutes before it came up.
Just a little hangout in America's Newsroom before I host Jimmy Fallon's radio show. No big deal.
Where in New York? What were you doing in New York? What was that?
Well, it's so funny you ask. You know, people dress up like Disney characters. I wanted to get some pictures with them.
The Elmo,
Yes.
Weird Elmo, and
dude, new Spider-Man movie's coming out, so I wanted to get my first picture with a guy in a really bad looking Spider-Man outfit.
Nowhere else to do that.
They come up to you and they take a picture and then they go $5. $5.
I honestly, when I see tourists doing that, I always think, stop helping this. You're making this worse for all of us. If you stop
go back on a
pictures,
cruise ship where you belong.
Yes. Go back to your bus is leaving somewhere. Go hit the Applebee's, get your original famous raisin, skedaddle, please.
JD Vance tells Joe Rogan Israel wants to keep Iran war going indefinitely. Vance ramps up criticism of Israel. Trump administration screwed up the Epstein files. Jerusalem Post, JD Vance says Israeli-funded campaign attacked him over Iran deal. Jewish Insider, Vance alleges Israeli influence campaigns manipulating America. Politico, Vance's tough talk on Israel is alienating some Jewish GOP donors. Go to hell. Vance lashes out at reported Israeli-backed online campaign smearing the Iran Memorandum of Understanding. JD Vance says Israel is losing the battle for U.S. public opinion. Vance blasts Israeli critics on Joe Rogan podcast, puts America first over ally Israel in the Iran deal. Joe Rogan grills JD Vance on Iran negotiations, asks if Israel's influence forced Trump into war. Go to hell. JD Vance accuses Israeli officials of trying to prolong the Iran war. This is the stuff that's coming out right now. So I think my analysis is correct in the sense that Vance is making the calculation that this Iran war is not popular with the MAGA base, and he doesn't want to be the one who gets the blame as all this is going south. He wants to distance himself from it and make it very clear to the people of the world who listen to Tucker Carlson and others, hey, I'm on your side with this, okay? And I'm not the bad guy here. They're the bad guy trying to smear me. They're the ones doing it. Okay? Because otherwise, why would you say any of these things? There are people within their system, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, who are manipulating and trying to change American public opinion to keep the war going indefinitely. And he says, when I open up the pages of Time magazine, we played the clip for you, and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to the think tank that I was pursuing. And basically his response is, go to hell. According to the Wall Street Journal, Israel has allocated hundreds of millions of dollars to strengthen the support for the military campaign, the United States, and improve its international image. Among those efforts was a reported $45 million lobbying contract awarded to a former Trump campaign manager. That would be Brad Parscale, who was Trump's campaign manager at one point. Vance ramps up criticism of Israel. In an interview with Joe Rogan, the vice president says some in Israel want the war with Iran to continue indefinitely. The allegations by Vance, widely seen as a potential successor to President Trump's political movement, marked an escalation in an increasingly public rift between Washington and its closest ally, Vance, who helped negotiate last month's ceasefire with Iran, described what he called a foreign influence campaign to derail the diplomatic effort. And then he added this. Now, Brad Parscale, who is the Trump campaign manager, who's the one who got the money, pushed back on social media saying, quote, claims that I attacked the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, or the administration are false. There isn't a single shred of evidence that I acted against the administration. A Vance spokesman who didn't immediately respond to requests for comment, a spokesman for the Israeli embassy in Washington declined to comment. Rogan, who endorsed Trump in 2024, has broken with the president over his decision to go to war with Iran. Last week, Rogan argued on his podcast that most people are horrified that Trump has not kept his campaign promise to avoid new foreign entanglements. The only rational analysis of all of this that I can give you is that you don't go on Joe Rogan's podcast at all unless you're prepared to say this kind of stuff, because you're sewing up political support after you say this kind of stuff, knowing that you're about to get blasted by lots of people for saying this kind of stuff on Joe Rogan's podcast. So that's it. The opening of the great MAGA war has begun for 2028. Right here, right now. It's crazy to think of, but here we are. It's also the big story of the hour, brought to you by Dr. Mike Veneria, Veneria Dental. Go see him today for your perfect smile, veneriadental.com. He's a great guy. He's going to give you the beautiful smile that you deserve, and go see him today. So wild stuff, Jared. I don't know. I was just thinking to myself, I wasn't expecting this to be the lead for the show today. I was expecting it was all going to be about the Odyssey, but hey, who knew, right?
We could talk Odyssey. I thought it was going to be all Trump and PA, and like it got bumped to position 2 or whatever, B block. I don't know what we call it.
How ticked off is Trump going to be about that? That JD Vance just stole the spotlight.
I don't know how Trump will feel. I don't think he'll notice. I think Senator McCormick will notice. That's my hunch.
Senator McCormick, as he's got there with Jamie Dimon, and he's got all these military contractors there and the CEOs of every defense company in America.
He's
and
on
now
Drudge.
that's the number 2 story below.
Yep. He's on CNN and Drudge. He's like, where's my thing? I don't. Isn't it like, and he's done this multiple years too. It's not the first time he's, like you expect it to get bigger and bigger. And then JD Vance just kneecaps him.
Yeah.
Oops.
He's like, hold that military industrial complex summit. I'm going to go on and talk about how Israel's trying to bring me down.
And he's looking at his watch. He's like, you couldn't do this on Friday? You couldn't do this on Thursday? You had to do this on my day? Okay.
The only thing I want to say about the Odyssey is I know that it opens, technically speaking, tomorrow, but it's tonight really is the first screenings, the first shows. Do you have your tickets yet?
I do. I'm going tomorrow night, but I technically, it opens tonight at midnight.
Okay. I am not going at all to see the Odyssey. And even though Christopher Nolan is by far my favorite director, and this is the man who created the Batman trilogy, my favorite superhero movies.
It's getting 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's getting good.
I know, and it looks amazing, and it looks like an epic. And again, I love Nolan, and Oppenheimer was amazing. And Batman Begins is literally my favorite movie. The Dark Knight's my second favorite movie in the superhero genre, of course, obviously. But top 5, I mean, definitely. But I can't. Not after this.
Oh, is that what this is about?
He ruins everything, Jared. He ruins everything.
It's not in it.
It doesn't matter. Put up in style. Ben Affleck suits up with his 14-year-old son, Samuel, support his BFF, Matt Damon, at the Odyssey party. That's it. I can't. I'm out. I'm done.
So your hatred of Ben Affleck goes so deep that if he throws a party for his friend to celebrate his friend who's like 50-something, he's starring in an action movie, like then even if he supports his friend, you're out on the movie. That is a vendetta, my friend. That is a blood oath style. Like, you're in deep.
I paid $50 for an IMAX ticket, 70 millimeter, and I went. I set it on fire like a draft card. During Nam.
You want some clicks? You start burning burn your Odyssey ticket in line, and just because of Ben Affleck, and we will get some views. We will get some. That's how we do it.
All right. Maybe that's a little psychotic. Maybe I got to rethink my stance on this. I don't know.
I like it.
I saw it this morning, and I got up early, and I was cranky because I had to get up early, and the car came at 6:30, and I was like, you know what? That's it. The one thing I was looking forward to, and he ruined that too. And I'm breathing Canadian wildfire air, and I'm in New York, and it's all gross and hot, and I got to see this frigging guy would go. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
New York? Where were you in New York?
Oh, did I not mention that I was in? Did I not bring that up? I'm sorry. My deepest apologies. I'm trying to do a better job of that. Anyway.
Wait, you're going to the Odyssey though, right? You're going tomorrow? When are you going? You got to go.
I'm making a note to call my shrink.
Listen, you got to go because I don't know how it ended. I know that part 1, Brad Pitt gets killed, and I just want to see how it ends. And I've been waiting since like 2003 to see how Troy ends with part 2, and I'm not going to read the book. So
I think there's something about a horse. I think
that's all I remember.
I think I read that. Yeah,
it's been a cliffhanger. I mean, it's a long time coming.
Yeah, it's we're due. We're owed this. All right, call Dr. Mashrama about my Ben Affleck obsession and get the help that I need. Okay, I'm just making a couple notes to myself for the future. Very good. Let me tell you about my friends at Emmons Roofing and Siding. They're great people, and they're going to do great work for you and your home, including the beautiful work that they do on the interior of your home, like kitchen and bathroom remodeling. They have an entire remodeling division at Emmons, and I would love for you to see them, have them come to your home, give you a free estimate. When they did our kids' bathroom, I was blown away by the great work they did. Blown away. And I love it, and that's why they're going to do the master bathroom for us. And I'm really also excited about the fact that my roof has a lifetime warranty on it because they use the Owens Corning shingle, the best in the business by far, nothing like it. So all I want you to do is go to emmonsroofing.com. I know it's hot out. We got Canadian freaking wildfires and everybody's, yeah. But before you know it, it's going to be winter weather. So make sure your home is ready. Emmons provides peace of mind, protection, guaranteed results, by the way, and you'll love the work. So emmonsroofing.com. Make sure you tell them I sent you. I'm like their favorite customer. And they've been with me since day one. Matt Kelly's a great friend of mine personally. His son hangs out with my son. So they're good family-owned business, and you can trust them every step of the way. emmonsroofing.com. So the president was in Pennsylvania yesterday, and he had a lot to say. I want to play you a clip of the defense investments in battleground Pennsylvania. And then I want to play out for you how all this unfolds as we think about 2028. And I love how the media is still calling it Battleground PA, because it certainly is still Battleground PA. Fetterman's out there. I could do the entire show with nothing but Fetterman clips. I'm not playing anymore. I'm kind of getting tired of them, to be honest with you, but maybe you feel the same way. But I heard a clip today of him saying something to the effect of, I'm mad at Bernie Sanders for backing Graham Plattner. Dude, John Fetterman was Bernie Sanders of Pennsylvania. He ran his campaign in 2016 for president. But he sees the tea leaves changing. He sees how the Trump effect in Pennsylvania and how popular the president is and the investments that are being made in the energy sector, the defense sector. He sees it. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars of investment in Pennsylvania. Jamie Dimon yesterday was at the shipyard in Philly. They're doing a massive investment down there. Hanwha Shipbuilding, new submarines and battleships and everything else coming to Philadelphia. All this matters as you head into midterms and you head into 2028. So here's the president.
Since I took office, defense investments in Pennsylvania are up by nearly 25% compared to crooked Joe Biden. And today we're adding $10 billion, and I think the number is going to end up being about $19 or $20 billion. And we'll be building two massive national security multi-mission vessels at the beautiful and historic Philadelphia shipyard. I met all the guys doing this, worth up to $1.5 billion. And it's a
jobs,
purchase
baby.
Of lots of vessels. We're going to have a lot of vessels being made there. We're also thinking about doing some purchases outside of companies that come here and build. They have to reteach us. We used to make a ship a day. And now we're a laggard in that department. We do lots of great things, but we're a laggard there.
That's a lot of jobs. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about blue-collar jobs. We're talking about union jobs. We're talking about the guys who at one point made up the coalition of the Democrat Party, people that build ships, people that work in the energy sector. Think about the war the Democrats waged against those people. That's what the president's talking about as you lead up to the midterms. He also gave a very grave warning about what happens if the Democrats are successful in the midterm elections. And I think this is key. You come to battleground Pennsylvania and you mobilize Trump voters, because you and I have talked about this before. There are Republican voters. There are Trump voters. They're not necessarily the same. And a lot of the Trump voters stay home if he's not on the ballot. His point is, I am on the ballot. Because if Democrats win, it's over, Johnny.
What they've done to this country and what they will do to the country, if we don't win the midterms or win the election, everything that I'm talking about, you can just write it off, because it'll revert back to open borders. It'll revert back to ridiculous high interest rates. And again, we should have the lowest interest rate of any country anywhere in the world, because we make them all sing. But since I took office, defense investments in Pennsylvania are up.
Now, the other part of that is, of course, nonstop investigations, impeachment, the agenda, nothing gets done, and it will be very difficult for any Republican to be able to win in 2028 if the Democrats are able to shut the Trump agenda down and all these things that are happening. Now, tonight, the president is going to give an address to the nation, which, of course, as we told you on yesterday's show, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does not believe the network should air. Yes, they should censor it because she doesn't like the message, because what could possibly go wrong with the government deciding to censor presidential addresses or urging the networks to censor an address from the duly elected president of the United States of America. The president apparently tonight is going to tell America what he's learned about the rigging of the 2020 election, specifically related to foreign influence in the election. Cut 7.
Machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell the
Well,
audience
I'd rather
in
save
America?
it. It will concern that subject, and we'll have a couple of other things to
Why
say
should people
also.
watch, though?
But I'd rather save it, but it's really big news. It's really, really big news. And our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah?
Jared, I have a question for you. Have you ever requested sexual favors?
Ever? I mean, I was in college once. There was a lot of pleading, some negotiations. You know?
How about Senator Mazie Hirono, the dumbest United States senator not on the mainland?
I owe her an apology. When I was pulling the clip, I was like, she's the one that thought Hawaii was going to tip over. And I always do that, and it's my fault. That's not her. That's somebody else. She had some other dumb thing. So,
yeah.
So sorry,
No.
Senator.
That was the guy who said Guam was going to tip over. Who also said, yeah, remember that?
Yeah,
and it apologized for using the M word, midgets. Oh, there I go again.
Whoops.
And literally said the word after he apologized for using the M word.
Good for him.
Hank Johnson, my favorite member of Congress, besides the guy with the cane who's always yelling. They're my top two.
Yeah. No. So, Hirano, maybe, I guess, took her line of questioning to an unexpected place for me. I was not ready for that. The same way I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for her clip either.
Well, get ready, America, because this is how she began her cross-examination of the acting Attorney General of the United States of America, Todd Blanche.
To ensure the fitness to serve of all nominees who come before any of my committees, I ask the following two initial questions. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement relating to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
Well, there was this one time in Vegas, Senator, but honestly, I don't think anybody can. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Am I right? Am I right? Huh?
Firstly, if you ask every single person that appears before your committee this question, maybe you shouldn't sound like you're reading it for the first time. I don't know. But secondly, it's like,
maybe you should be familiar with the question.
I always ask these two questions. Let me pull out the paper here. Why is it when you appear before the terrible? But secondly,
what is your favorite pizza topping? Pizza topping.
What I want to know is it okay? Fine, you asked that of everybody. Have you ever gotten anybody with it? Has it ever worked? Has it ever been like you discovered something? Is it
like somebody stood up and was like, "I'm out.
Yep.
That's it." Didn't even make it the first 30 seconds.
Damn it!
Son of a!
Damn it! Almost had
Damn it! Ridiculous. Senator, you got me. You got me. All right. I'm out. I don't even need to get to the second part of the first question. Thank you. Have a nice day. And then can I take this water to go? Is that all right? Can I grab this little mini water bottle?
That's a little presidential water there. That looks nice. It's got the seal. See that? Nice.
I believe that's Senate water, Jared. That's that's the seal of the Senate, I believe.
I mean, that's definitely that's definitely the eagle looking at the I don't know.
And Todd Blanche broke the seal. I asked this of all my committee members, have you ever broken the seal to be the first one in line at a party to use the bathroom? What? Yeah, I don't know. I asked. Honestly, it's my question.
Makes as much sense. And I like that you didn't sound like you were reading it.
Because I asked that of everybody.
Of everybody.
Are you that guy that goes to the bathroom first at a party? All right. Are you the one who breaks the seal? That's my question. That's what I ask. I mean, obviously, we live in I swear it's the dumbest time ever. Well, you may think it's the dumbest time ever, but then again, you haven't heard all of the audio from the exchange with the medical people. But before I do that, I owe it to my buddy, Senator Dave McCormick. He did host this incredible Defense and Innovation Summit in Pennsylvania to at least play a clip for him now that he's been pushed to page number 12, thanks to JD Vance going on Joe Rogan. I feel like I owe it to our friend McCormick. He comes on the show regularly. He's always generous with his time to at least play one clip of him And go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
And that's enough of that. All right, let's move back to Joe Rogan and JD Vance.
He didn't even get his voice. You got applause and him saying thank you. Listen, I know you're not going to. I really wish you'd leave it there. I know you're going to play the clip, but like I want somebody to tell the senator that Rich didn't even. That'd be amazing.
We didn't even make it 5 seconds into the clip.
I want somebody to clip it from today's pod and like send it to him, and yeah, that'd make my day.
And that's enough. More of Vance trashing Israel, please. All right, let's try that again, shall we?
Thank you, sir. We are so honored to have you here. I know you've got a special love for Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania has a special love for you. And this is all about your vision of peace through strength. And what's happening here at this summit is really all the people we need in the room, the prime contractors, the energy leaders, the emergent technologies, the leaders in labor, the leaders in finance, all the team that needs to be in place to implement your vision. So if it's all right with you, what I'd like to do is turn to the Secretary of War, let him make some remarks, and then draw in some of the business leaders we have here. And I'll say the one little story is when I was on the campaign trail with the president, one time I walked off the stage and he said, "You know what I like about you?" He said, "You don't talk too much." He said, you don't go on and on. There was somebody else there, I won't say who it was. He goes, going on and on. He goes, "Keep it short." And so we'll all keep it short. Thank you, Mr. President.
You know, it would have been helpful for one person to be there yesterday, JD Vance, and not on Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm just saying. Would have been helpful if maybe there was one more person in the room. Maybe just he didn't get his RSVP in late, couldn't reschedule with Rogan. I don't know, but maybe that would have been helpful. So do you think maybe he said all that stuff to Rogan out of spite?
What, for Dave McCormick, that he didn't get the invite? He was like, okay, I wasn't going to make news. But now that Senator Dave McCormick, one of the 99 other people, I'm going to ruin his news cycle. I do feel bad. I do. It's a great event. It's a great, he works so hard on it all year. And it cracks me up that the entirety of it is just lost to the Joe Rogan podcast.
It's almost like JD Vance was sitting there at his house and he's like, "Usha, did you check the mail? Nothing. Calls up his chief of staff. Anything from McCormick? No.
Do you think he has like a bad number for McCormick? He keeps like texting him, but it's like it's just going to somebody else, and like he's like, it's a 215. It's got to be McCormick, right? Who is this? Hey, Dave, just making sure you didn't miss me. I heard Secretary of War was also there. Like, I have a lot of time on my hands. I would hate for something to happen to your news cycle. It'd be a shame if somebody stepped all over it. And just nothing. Just keeps texting.
Just saying, Dave. I mean, I'd hate to drop an Epstein Mossad bombshell in the middle of your event on the biggest podcast in America. So,
hey, Dave, it's
maybe
real nice swing state you got there. Be a shame if something happened to it.
You can't even make this up. These are the moments I feel like I'm still in a coma. I'm in a coma. This isn't real. None of this is real. This can't be real. This can't be happening. But if you thought you've heard it all, you didn't hear it all because I have not played you. You may have heard it other places, but you haven't heard me play it for you. So Democrats, when medical school deans went before their committee, and the chancellor of the University of San Francisco Medical School testified under oath about a vast majority of pregnancies that occur in the United States of America.
Of course, the vast majority of pregnancies are in women, and I have absolutely no problem with using the word pregnant women. I use it myself.
Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
A transgender person can.
That's not a biological woman. Has a non-biological woman ever had a baby?
I would reiterate, we
it's
take
ridiculous.
He's also fine using the pregnant woman emoji too, which is a big step for him. It's a bold, bold step. And I applaud the man for having the confidence, to send somebody the pregnant woman emoji. Am I right? Not easy in this day and age of woke medical schools. So good for you, sir. Well done. Representative Mary Miller pressed medical deans on basic biology. This is from Fox News. We also have a graphic to put up on the screen for you as well. So take a watch and a listen.
Also troubling, Dr. Benedetti, it appears that DEI has not left UICM. On your school's About page, clear as day, it says, and I quote, "At the University of Illinois College of Medicine, we are committed to diversity and inclusion. We have a number of programs and initiatives in place to promote diversity and inclusion." It's clear that UICM is just hiding the fact that DEI is still its core mission. Dr. Haygood, UCSF's classroom guide titled Framework for Gender and Sex Concepts in Teaching advises against using the term pregnant women. Instead, it says to use pregnant people. Who are pregnant people compared to pregnant women? Just curious.
So that is a part of a curriculum to help our students who are facing a wide diversity of patients. Of course, the vast majority of pregnancies are in women, and I have absolutely no problem.
All right, so there you go. I just wanted to share with you the context of that. It's just but. It's still not the craziest part of the back and forth, because medical schools are super woke nowadays. They're the wokest places. I have spoken to friends in high places in the medical world who have told me this firsthand. It is, and it's a problem. But yet they're not woke enough. They're not woke enough for Representative Jahana Hayes, okay? Because if they're really going to be woke, they would be teaching about this.
I am incredibly disappointed that as academic deans, you could not immediately answer the question about teaching colonialism in healthcare. Teaching colonialism directly addresses the systemic roots of healthcare inequities. It exposes how historic power structures dictate who receives quality care. It's important for future doctors to have that education to recognize how that historic legacy promotes biases and negatively impairs outcomes. That's why you teach colonialism in healthcare. I am equally as disappointed to hear that we have deans from California universities specifically who can't immediately say that the Black Panther Party was central to healthcare discussions.
What? Well, Is this, she's pulling a con, right? She's like, I got you. I fooled you. You didn't think that was real, did you? Stop it. Stop. The Black Panther Party?
Obviously. I mean, how did you get to be a doctor and not learn about the Black Panther Party's essential role in medicine? Also, Rich, unpacking something that doesn't need unpacking. But okay, so the Brits took over the world, and we need to teach that to doctors because that impacts them identifying heart attacks.
Right.
Okay.
Because obviously, if somebody has a heart condition, it's because the Brits conquered a country and controlled India.
Right.
Obviously. Okay? Like, Cote d'Ivoire, which I learned to say, the Ivory Coast, as you know it, was at one time, I believe, French. So when they colonized that, that's the reason why today somebody breaks a femur. Do you understand?
They don't even need to teach it. We just put that all together on our own.
Done for you, right there. Colonialism 101. And before somebody asks you, may I have another drip of morphine, please? Because this is just painful. Understand the colonial roots of white supremacy and how that beautiful, beautiful drip that relieves their pain is actually the same thing that they did to the poor people of Uganda. What? Like I said, we are living in the dumbest time in the history of America right now. But I would love to tell you that it's over or that we're getting close to it being over, but we're not. All right, so we went through Israel, we went through Vance, we went through all that, we went through my hatred of Ben Affleck, and now I want to share with you this article about Josh Shapiro and Pennsylvania and why it relates to the central thesis of today's show. But before I do, I want to remind you we're going to be live at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey, coming up on August 7th. It's a Friday, August 7th, and it's going to be a great, great day. Jared, I wish you could join us for it because it's going to be a blast. I mean, there's nothing better than a live show in Cape May, but, you know, it's a far trip for you. I understand that. I get that. I understand. So, but if you can make it, please come join us. Grand Hotel Cape May, August 7th, 3 to 7 p.m. And my buddy, Dr. Mike Veneria, is a great guy and a great friend and the undisputed master of dental implants. So I would love for you to make your appointment to see him because you deserve a beautiful smile. There's something about a smile that just lights up the room and makes you happy, and it makes everybody in the room feel good. And Dr. Mike can give you that great smile. And for over 12 consecutive years in a row, other doctors and dentists have reached out to Dr. Mike and sent their patients to Dr. Mike for the really complex procedures. Now, doctors and dentists have big egos. They would not be doing that unless the guy's going to make them look good. And that's what Dr. Mike does. He makes them look good by giving incredible care to each and every person who comes to see him. So please make your appointment by going to veneriadental.com. VANARIA, veneriadental.com. And yes, I'm a patient. I'm going to see him next week for my cleaning. Bridget got a beautiful smile upgrade from him, and Mama Zeoli discovered him for our family. You'll get a free implant consultation, and a smile can change your life. And if you've been putting off going to a dentist, stop putting it off, because there's a link between your mouth health, gum health, heart health. It's all there. And you don't even have to be an expert in colonialism to understand that. Just the microbiome and all of it. It's just go see a dentist and make sure it's Dr. Mike, okay? veneriadental.com. Josh Shapiro wants a Dem fight in 2028 so far without leading it. Excellent piece in Axios.com by Holly Otterbein, who used to write for the Philadelphia Inquirer back in the day, and then now she's over at Axios. As progressives and socialists have won primary after primary in recent weeks, the more moderate Shapiro often has been gun-shy about criticizing the left. Like, for example, there's this whack job who's running. I did not grab the audio. I don't want to give this guy, I don't want to play this. I really don't. I'm just going to share with you what it's about. It's obviously another huge story today, and it's former Marine running for Congress says Trump is the Antichrist and must be killed. He put out a 6-minute video, and he was medically discharged. The Marine Corps said his remarks are a violation of his oath. He's running in Florida, facing this backlash. His name is William Upham. He's actually a Republican write-in candidate for Florida's 5th Congressional District, who describes himself on X as a prosecutor running to fix a broken system, saying Trump is the Antichrist and he needs to be killed. Now, obviously, this man is very, very sick, saying the president is an enemy of God, and citing Bible passages and discussing the oath he took as a Marine to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But there are a lot of Democrats who are saying the exact same thing about Donald Trump, and they're in Josh Shapiro's party. They're also saying horrific things about Israel and the Jews and all kinds of other things, and Josh Shapiro has to reckon with that. Like, I have no problem calling out this guy and saying, dude, you do not belong in my Republican Party. I don't want you here. I do not want you here. I have not heard a lot of Josh Shapiro coming out and saying to other Democrats, you don't belong in this party. I've heard Fetterman do it. I have not heard Shapiro do it. I have not heard him come out and say this, because his approach is many center-left Democrats are looking for a national leader to go toe-to-toe with the party's rising socialist wing. For now, at least, that's not Shapiro. So many of these people are also heavily criticizing Israel and heavily criticizing the Jews in general, but Shapiro doesn't want to fight. He's pulling his punches. He struck a positive tone on MS Now's Morning Joe when asked about Democrat socialists romping in recent primaries, saying, quote, a through line is there that is real passion in the electorate to elect people who can be a check on Donald Trump's chaos, cruelty, and corruption. And voters have a lot of pain inflicted by this president and his enablers ripping away health care in Pennsylvania, and from 500,000 people ripping away food assistance. On the podcast, The Press Box, he said Democrats eventually have to coalesce around policies that maybe aren't left-wing or center-left or whatever. It's a little piece of lots of different things. In other words, Josh Shapiro is a total wuss-y. I'm just going to say, because, it's a kid, earmuffs. But, I mean, it's like, yeah. Dude, where are your balls? Where are your balls? Why is it you are afraid to come out? I'll tell you exactly why. Because he wants to run for president. And he's hoping that he can at least make it far enough in this whack job field of Democrat lunatics. And the reality check for Josh Shapiro is they are never going to nominate you for president. Your dreams of becoming president are so unrealistic. They are deeply, deeply unrealistic. You don't even have a chance of being the running mate. Not in this Democrat Party. Not when you've got people like Saeed, whatever the hell his name is, in Michigan, who's about to become the Democrat nominee. When you got Zoran Mamdani, they don't want you. They don't want anything to do with you, man. So you have a choice. You could stand up and fight these people, but no, that'll hurt your presidential chances. But your presidential chances are non-existent anyway. And I don't know who the people are around Josh Shapiro that just don't have that heart-to-heart with him and say, there's a reason why they didn't pick you to be VP, because she knew that you would never play in Michigan because of all the anti-Semitism that's out there. And then if you're going to try to be the moderate adult in the room candidate, you go to war with these people. You're never going to make it even out of the first primary contest. But he has delusions of grandeur, Josh Shapiro. And it's all coming at the same time that, we're dealing with a lot of other issues in the must-win battleground state of Pennsylvania. Screw you, taxpayers. A judge says the Pennsylvania legislature ignored money-saving reforms. Pennsylvania, the legislature exists in a time warp. The taxpayer-funded political caucuses should be eliminated. After one of the biggest corruption scandals in Pennsylvania broke out since the late 2000s, a grand jury interviewed more than 100 Capitol Hill staffers and lawmakers and released a scathing report. The most damning observation: the Pennsylvania General Assembly will meddle with, obfuscate, ignore, or kill every recommendation, and if the legislature were left to its own devices, is utterly incapable of reforming itself. So think about it. He could begin by taking on his own party in his own state, and he's too cowardly to even do that. And the man's a serious contender for 2028? No, he's not. You know what he is? He's a Chad. Yeah, that's right. I said it.
Hate speech.
I don't know why I just needed to invoke
Is he Chad,
Mark
though?
Levin there, but he's a Chad. He's a Chad.
Okay.
Isn't that the whole point of this article?
So like a Chad is like a douchey, like a Rittenhouse Square guy. He's like a Chad. It's like a.
You don't
like
think that qualifies for Shapiro? Walking around Rittenhouse Square with his loafers.
I mean, I bet I would need to actually see him in action to know if he's a Chad, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'm not going to just throw that word around, the C word.
You're not gonna just be so loosey goosey with the word Chad like I am, for example.
No, it's hate speech. I'm not going to do that.
I understand. That's fine. There should be a code against that. Karen and Chad are the most judged first names in America, according to studyfinds.com. This is my favorite story ever. Millions of Americans admit they're living with a name they'd rather ditch. That's crazy. We have our buddy Karen who delivers the mail. She's a wonderful person. And every time I say that person's being a Karen, I say, not you, Karen, you're the good Karen. But 1 in 5 Americans admit to judging a person solely based on their name. And if that name appears to be Karen, the social tax is steeper than for almost any other name in the country. Karen. It also invokes for me Goodfellas when she's flushing the cocaine down the toilet. He's like, Karen, no, we need the money. But a study of 2,000 Americans said Karen drew more negative mentions than any other name in the survey by a wide margin, with Chad coming in a distant second. Chad? See, I think somebody sitting in Martha's Vineyard ordering a lobster salad and then being aghast when the illegal immigrants showed up from the bus from Texas. That's what I think of a Chad.
So I would that's like a Chet. I think you're close. I'd say that's a
that's a Chet. Chet and Buffy.
A lot of like grip teeth. Oh, I don't know. Are we going to be able to make it with all these immigrants in the way? It's like a grip. Yeah.
Buffy, are those people brown? Don't look. Don't look. Move your mimosa and take a glance. I don't think they work here. They're walking down the street. Chet, sweater tied around his neck?
With the, yes.
Yeah.
Everything's white for some reason, and this is literally the only white shirt I even own. My Reagan shirt. It's like, I don't know how they do it, because I guess they just buy more. Yeah, Chet and Buffy. Brittany fits into that a little bit.
Brittany fits into that as well. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit.
Chet, Buffy, Chad, Karen, Brittany. Yeah, I guess there's a lot to say. Do you judge people by their names?
I think it's a weird thing to think someone is behaves like a thing because of their name. That's a really weird prep. But I do throw it around. I'll be like, don't be a Karen. Or my wife's like, oh my gosh, I'm turning into a Karen when she complained about something. So we use that phrase, but I've never met someone named Karen and thought, oh, because of your name, you must be a asking for the manager type of person. That seems like a weird leap to make.
Well, I guess I can end the show on this note, Jared. I can say this. Thank you for listening. Please hit the subscribe button. And for God's sakes, man, don't be a Chad. We'll see you tomorrow. I don't know. It doesn't work. It's like, I don't know.